Greetings and welcome to DORAGANS domain. I am Doragan Kishu, Paladin and Dragon Rider. Recently I've been posting on the Doragan Kishu blog what I call the Journal of Thorin Ryo. He is my first level Paladin in my first Dungeons & Dragons 5e campaign that I've ever been in. Generally I'm Dungeon Master, and I've used a blend of basic and expert blended with advanced Dungeons & Dragons, but I'm now entering into the 5e realm, as it's the current one, and I really like it. I wanted to just be a player this time, and it's gone really well. We had our fifth session last night. Anyway, I've been just started posting a journal through the eyes of my Paladin, Thorin Ryo. And Thorin Ryo is the swordsman of Mount Marshall and the servant to King Landrich, and Paladin of Tishamber. It's a land that I originally created before I started in a campaign, because I like to create lands and stuff like that. You know, as a dungeon master, I do that. I do that stuff all the time, all homebrew really. And so I created this land, and I found a friend of mine that would be a DM. He didn't really have time to do a homebrew, so I gave him all the material I created, and then he changed it and used it and created his own thing. Anyway, I did post a couple of journal entries so far, like three or four, for Thorin Ryo, and I did the first part of last night's called Thugs, although we didn't in the post I didn't actually get to the thug part. But I'm going to start there, and I'll put the link to the first part down below. Basically, we went into, I have a list of the group members, just to save a little time. We have Leonar Sunbringer, Elven Fighter, and Aranar Esland, he's an Elven Druid, and Ulfin Hillhammer, Dwarven Barbarian, who's an NPC ran by the Dungeon Master. Ivan Dacek, Human Thief, ran by the Dungeon Master. Originally we didn't have as many group members, and so I think the Dungeon Master was trying to get some NPCs in, but now we have a bigger group. It seems like he might be weaving them out a little bit, though they're still around. Fildere Urfina, Elven Fighter, and Ashken Cetera, Human Ranger, and Walker Gnomish Rogue, and Walker's also ran by the Dungeon Master. Now Walker, the Rogue, and Ivan the Thief were left at the front of the cave. There's a cave in the middle of the desert. We're on a quest right now, but we got taken off base. Magic isn't really accepted in this land that my friend has created from my land. So it's kind of people that have magic abilities. First of all, there's no mages or warlocks allowed in the game, so that was new for me, although I generally don't play those kind of characters. Anyway, so magic kind of frowned upon, but yet it's starting to have a rise in it. There's these groups called kill squads from in this one desert area, and they go into this main city where the quest started, called Pinnacle, and they kidnap people that use magic, and then they take them, and as much as we know is that they kill them, but now we're starting to get, I think that we're starting to find out that they might do experiments on them first. So on our beginning of our journey in the desert with this new group, we ran across Nikana, who is a 6'5" barbarian female, and she's tough, not too friendly. But she came with us, and so we were traveling, and then we ran into a situation where we came across a hut that had a guy in it that was wounded, and told us that his wife or daughter, I think it might have been his daughter, was kidnapped. And so then we found tracks and followed to a cave. It was a skull-shaped cave in front of, well, actually originally it was an oasis, and we followed the tracks right up to the oasis. These were camel tracks, and then when you reached the oasis, it turned into a skull-shaped cave. And right away I'm just thinking, wow, this is a group of first level characters. This is looking a little bit foreboding. But nonetheless, we went forward. Walker wanted to stay back. Ivan wasn't going to go in. Ivan was this thief that Leonar, our elven fighter, picked up and was trying to improve his life by making him a squire. So Ivan stayed back, and Walker wanted to stay back too, and I was a little upset about this because Walker's kind of not really being a team player, and Walker said that they just wanted to protect Ivan, so I let it be. So we went without our thief and without our rogue, right? We went into this cave. Last week we battled, and this is in the journal that I posted, but we battled a large black furry spider, as the DM explained it to be. It was tough. I don't know, I must have had a bunch of hit points, you know, and because it took a while for us to kill it, and Leonar was taken out, and then I brought him back to life, and but anyway, yeah, it was tough. And then when we cut this spider in half and killed it, actually on that note, not just patting myself on the shoulder here, but it just so Thorin has had some of the final blows on some of these first interactions. Like our first interaction was a couple snakes. I had the final blow on a snake and final blow on this big spider, which was just fun to have the final blow. But anyway, so after that, it ends up this thing was, it mentioned that the big spider was swollen. Well, he was pregnant, and she was pregnant, and so then there were 2 swarms of spiders that we had to deal with. We were pretty much done with that last week. We had to stop till this week. Finished it off last night. Then we went forward. I was telling them, you know, I don't know if we can handle what's going to come around the corner, right? Because this is, you know, a bunch of level 1s, and this is a tough spider, and we're still having to reach the kill squad that took the girl. So, but that didn't sway the group, and so we entered a big hallway full of torches. Came across a fork, and our druid was determined that we should take the one to the right. That's where the girl was taken. But he also determined that both pathways had traps. So what we did is we went in, and we came into a dark room, and there was, I'm trying to think if I already explained this, I explained this in part 1. Forgive me, it's my first Dungeons & Dragons vlog. So, all right, so that's in the link below. All right, so we got beyond that, and now we heard voices beyond the door. And so we were going to have a surprise on these thugs that were, I guess they were the ones that might have taken the girl. We thought they were. So we started to move in for a surprise. We was, let's see, it was Leonor and Filderay, our 2 fighters, in front with our barbarian Nikana. Nikana was not very quiet, so they realized we were coming, except that the first 2 fighters got in a couple attacks. Now they cruise in. There was a long sword fighter, muscular dude. Looked like he knew what he was doing. This guy did not look like a thug. So our fighters went after that guy. We wanted to leave one of them alive for questioning, interrogation. There was a little guy. We were going to try to keep him alive, and then there was a huge guy with this big old mace. Nikana went in with, you know, she went into a rage and axe blazing, and had quite a blow on him, and it didn't really do a lot. So I figured I would assist her, give him something to aim at, because I probably have the best armor class as Paladin. I probably have the best armor class in the group, and Nikana does not have a good armor class. It's so it's pretty easy to hit. Anyway, because she's not wearing any armor and has no shield, she's just, you know, raging. But anyway. So her and I battled this guy. It was hard, and then the little guy actually rolled a 1 and hit the big guy in the back. So the big guy turned around and knocked that guy's head clear off. So the little guy was gone, which means he wasn't going to be the guy that we interrogated, right? Meanwhile, the long swordsman had multiple attacks and was giving the fighters a difficult time, and finally took down Filderay. Just no hit points. And normally I would have run over there and, you know, and tried to give her a potion right away, but we were near killing the big guy, so I rolled well, got the final kill, and then I took out his throat, and I was cool because I had no hits on him before. I was rolling terrible. Last week we had our ranger in the middle of fighting the spider shot an arrow. I've mentioned this in Twitter. Hit me in the back, right? rolled a 1, hit me in the back, so I got shot by my own guy. He was really been sad about that. He's kind of been not using his bow, right? He tried to move in with a dagger. The dagger broke because he rolled a 1. He just wasn't doing well, and I just I got a blow against me that almost killed me, knocked me about 1 hit point. He came over, gave me a healing potion, and I grabbed him by the shirt and I told him, use your bow. I don't care if you hit one of us. It's the best weapon you've got. And back off, you know, from this big guy, I'll take your head off. So he started taking steps back, took a shot and had a nice hit, right? In the end, we killed the big guy, but it was tough. And I was like, my God, you know, in each battle we've had, you know, basically a player or character die or go unconscious, right? In the 5e rules. We got them up. We got them both up before any death saving throws, but it was just really tough. And part of the reason I wanted to do this little vlog was that first of all, this is like our first dungeon crawl, and it's different. You start to determine, you know, the way people are. I noticed there's a couple players that are very quiet, and I get a little worried that they're not going to get, you know, speak, you know, and then there's the ones that are naturally lead, which is good, and sometimes people don't always get to talk, and then but I just kind of wanted to talk about the importance. I mentioned this to when was it, Winged Horizon? I don't know his new Twitter. I'll put a link down below, but he's going to be doing some videos on YouTube. But I was saying, I think it's important to people as Dungeon Master and as players, everybody gets a chance to talk. And I think, especially in new groups, if you're not careful, people can start to kind of run the show and other characters just kind of wait around to roll. And it can kind of I think that you got to be careful about that. I think ours is going pretty balanced. Even our quiet people seem to talk enough. For me, I've always been like, even back when I was in corporate America, and I was approached for management, and I turned it down because I was burnt out on the job, and I didn't feel like it was a responsible thing to manage people. I figured I didn't even know how much longer I was going to be there, and it wasn't just better pay. It was really difficult. They wanted you to maintain your sales, and this is at the same time. Anyway, this is not enough about that. My point was that still I had people come to me, and I'm not being cocky, I'm just saying, I've been there a while. So a lot of new reps came to me anyway, and I was kind of like more of a silent leader. So I think with the Paladin, I am kind of like one of the leaders. I think it's not an ego thing. It's more about like who's comfortable doing what. I'm just trying to kind of watch the back for the group, you know, and maybe give some ideas. And mainly I try to protect people. Then we have, like, you know, Leonard was just very much a leader type. He had some bad rolls, and he got killed just about. He got unconscious from the spider, so I think he kind of realizes that he's not perfect either. But yeah, I think it's important that people get to say their words. And like I said, in dungeon crawls, the dynamics change. And I think it's good to, like, you know, you need marching orders, you need strategies, you need everybody to be able to speak their things so that people aren't just dragged around the dungeon. You can say, well, you know, they need to speak up, but not everybody has that personality. And I don't think all of it should be on the Dungeon Master, but the Dungeon Master should at least be aware, if not have conversations with people that aren't speaking up enough. Might suggest that, you know, out of game, in between sessions and things like that. But I hope this wasn't just a bunch of rambling. I just felt like doing this rather than writing the second part of the battle, which I just thought this would be fun. So anyway, curious what you think about all this, about dungeon crawls, about leadership, about members that aren't as loud, things like that. Anything you want to talk about. Thanks for watching.